So there's a wonderful tradition in Rabbinic Judaism that I have borrowed from the scientific community. You may be familiar with the law of the conservation of mass. Well, there is also the very similar and equally powerful law of the conservation of stories. So I am going to be telling a story tonight you may have heard before, but that is because I really like this story, and I think it hopefully will really resonate with us tonight. And as the story goes, back in the old country, not New York, but back in Eastern Europe, back in the olden days, there was this amazing community living in the shtetl, but they had a problem. And the problem was their Beit Knesset, their synagogue, their place of gathering was just too small. And so they convened a committee to gather together to address this problem, because what do synagogues do but convene committees? And the committee got together and they scratched their heads and they had a lovely nosh and they began to talk, and they realized the solution to the problem was they needed to build a new shul, a new synagogue, a new place for them to gather together to worship. So they began this very process. They hired a contractor. They found a site far away from Cass Street. Sorry, that's as funny as I get, guys. And they found a site to build this new synagogue. Plans were drawn up. Donations were given. Hard work was done. And pretty soon, the people of the community of the shtetl began to get excited because they saw the walls of the synagogue going up. And then pretty soon they got excited because after the foundation was laid and the walls were put up, they began to see the roof to cover their sacred space. Now they knew that roof would leak, because that's the reality of all synagogues. Nonetheless, they were excited by the prospect that as Rosh Hashanah was getting closer and closer, they would be able to gather together and pray in their new sacred space. So they watched in amazement as it all came together. They watched with hope and excitement for what this would represent for the community, until one day the building was finally done. Now, it was Erev Rosh Hashanah, one of the most important days of the Jewish calendar, the start of the new year. And the whole community gathered together with the rabbi to walk into their new shul, their new synagogue, their new Beit Knesset. And they walked in and they saw the pews, and they saw the Sidurim, and they saw the Talitot. They saw the Ark. They saw the Torah. They knew that this would be their new sacred space. But they looked around and they realized there was a problem. For even though it had all the trappings, it had the Ner Tamid, it had the Aron Kodesh, it had the Ark, it had the Torah, it had all the space, they realized it had no light. There were no candles. There were no lights. There was no electricity. And as the sun was getting closer to setting, they realized they would be praying in the dark. And they quickly reconvened. And they said, Rabbi, what do we do? We're not going to be able to see the words of the Machzor, the holy book that we're going to use on these high holy days. And the rabbi said, quickly, before the holiday starts, I need you to go home. I need each and every one of you to get a candle and bring it back with you. A candle big enough that it's going to stay lit for the entirety of our service. Not quite like our Shabbat candles. And so each and every member of the shtetl went home and they grabbed a candle and they brought it back. And they carefully lit the candle. And as each person lit their candle, more and more and more and more light filled their sacred space. And they had enough light to pray with. They had enough light to see each other's faces. Because what is more important in a worship space, in a space of community, to see each other panim el panim, face to face. They saw each other and they saw the holy in each other's beautiful punam, in each other's beautiful face, like our fourth graders here this evening. And they were able to pray together. And they quickly realized a valuable lesson of that worship experience. And that was the only reason why they could see each other, the only reason why they could pray, was because each and every person brought their light with them. I love this story because it's a powerful reminder that we've got this beautiful worship space that we built when we moved here to create a sacred space to welcome everyone in from the community and everyone else who wishes to join us to celebrate our Judaism, to celebrate our fourth graders, to celebrate our heritage and our tradition. But as beautiful as this space is with our Ark and our Torahs and our Ner Tamid, it is only a beautiful space if you bring your light into it, which you have done here this evening. For your light is what enables us to see each other panim el panim, face to face, and is also what enables each and every one of us to see in each other the face of God. So thank you for bringing your light. And remember to keep bringing your light, for that is truly what brings light to us, to our community, and to the world. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Continue with Aleinu. We'll invite everyone who's comfortable to please rise as we face the Ark.
Bear with us one moment.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל עמונה. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. Our thoughts turn now to our own loved ones, the martyrs of our people, those who have died in the season and in years past. When you hear the name of a loved one, we invite you to rise in body and or in spirit. And if you rise in body, we encourage you to remain standing. We're in the period of Shloshim, the 30 days of mourning, for Marshall B. Kushner, for Sheila Tomps, for Abram Abe Wishna, and for Joyce Ashley. And the Yortzites, the anniversaries of the deaths we observe this week, are for Ferdinand Adler, George Azrakhan Arnold, Marcel Azriel, Arnold Avram Barron, Morris Becker, Frida M. Bleicher, Emil Brandeis, Ann Cohen, Frederick Ronald Cohn, Ariel Distenfeld, Ellen Freeman, Lloyd Friedman, Dora W. Gerber, Alfred M. Gladstein, Linda Gordman, Leona Y. Gottsender, Sally K. Greenberg, Julius Gurwitz, Jeffrey Allen Herman, David Herzog, Leona Kazin, Solace M. Cass, Julius Cattleman, Victoria Kipperman, Dr. Lawrence Ralph Kipperman, Evie Cal Kirschenbaum, Lena Cohen, William Cucklin, Carl Kunish, Joseph Charles Chuck Levenger, Saul Martin, Leo I. Meyerson, Myron Harry Milder, Mamie G. Newman, Isaac Oberfelder, Rose Pittler, Eva W. Rosenblum, Jonas Edward Rosenthal, Nate Seidelbeck, George Siegelson, Philip Sokoloff, Toby Goldstein Summer, Isidore Spector, Marion Cattleman Whale, George Winston Walker, Harriet M. Waltz, Esther Arnovitz Weil, Herbert L. Weil, Henry Wertheimer, Rose Wolf, Rosa Wollenberger. And if there are any additions or corrections, we invite you to mention them either in our chat or here in our sanctuary. We remember as well Patricia Wade, and our larger Omaha Jewish community continues to be in Shloshim for beloved member and Shoah survivor Esther Silver. We recall as well those victims of violence and terror worldwide, as well as the 6 million who perished in the violence of Shoah, especially those who do not have anyone to say Kaddish for them. We invite all others who so choose to rise as well in solidarity with the mourners. We join together in Kaddish Tom, Mourners Kaddish. Yikadal v'yikadash shmei Rabbah, v'yalma divrach cherutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, b'agala v'zman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lamei maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, Vitadar, Vitale, Vitalal, Shmei Kudusha, Brichu, Le'ela Minkol Birchata V'Shirata, Tushbechata V'Nechemata, Damiram Bi'alma V'imru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, V'imru, Amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn, comfort to all who are bereaved. Together as one loving family, let us say, Amen. You may be seated.
Few announcements before we conclude our service this Shabbat. A number of thank yous first to Stacy and to Tammy for joining us and making our service so beautiful with music. In the back of the house, we have Scott and Ed. And on tech tonight, we have Eli. We're grateful to all of you who make that possible. Allison and our ONEG volunteers for our beautiful ONEG after the service. We're grateful to OPD for security. And as always, our Zoom maven, Dory Bernstein. I'd like to invite any members of our Board of Trustees to rise and greet our congregation. And if you have any questions after the service, please feel free, as Rabbi said, to reach out to them or to any of us. There are a number of things happening. As Rabbi said, our teens are in New York City until Sunday, and they are excited to explore the historical backdrop of New York City as a port of arrival for many Jewish families that are fleeing persecution and in search of a new home and freedom for their families. So they're going to have a lot to teach us when they return.
And I did get a proof of life text from Noah during the middle of the service, because why not?
Why not? It is an hour later there.
Yes,
so
it is true.
On Sunday, we have a Rosh Chodesh event for our women's group at 1 p.m. It is Omaha Through Her Story, a Rosh Chodesh event that will have a special history tour of our city that explores the stories of the remarkable women who helped shape Omaha's early history, from factory workers and business owners to religious leaders and activists. There are still a few more spots available, so you can speak to Allison and the ONEG if you would like to join us. It is $25 a person, and she'll need to help you register so that you can join for Sunday. Next weekend, we have a very exciting Scholar in Residence program. We have Paper Midrash with Rabbi Shauna and Isaac Brinjagard Bialik. We are excited for a full weekend of learning and creativity and community. Our events will include Tat Shabbat with our younger friends and a Scholar in Residence speaker on our Shabbat services, starting at 5:45 with Tots. We'll be kicking off our special community art project there, where our youngest learners will begin creating a fingerprint talit that will be completed by our youth learning program students on Sunday. And then during the day on Shabbat on Saturday, the 25th, starting at 9:15, In place of Torah study that morning, we turn our tradition into art with our own hands in this special 3-hour workshop inspired by Parshat Kedoshim. Guided by our scholars, participants will study text and create their own visual midrash through paper cutting, transforming Jewish ideas into meaningful art. And then on Saturday evening at 6:15, there will be a make-your-own golem workshop. In this 2-hour workshop, participants will create their own golem using paper cutting techniques and recycled comic books. Along the way, Isaac and Rabbi Shana Brinjagard-Bialik will share the fascinating history and legends while guiding us step by step through their creative process. They make really gorgeous art, by the way, and we've been excited to have them join our community for several years. It's finally happening. I highly encourage everybody to join us for at least one of the events over the weekend.
And by the way, you don't have to be a member of Temple Israel to participate. So if you have friends that you would like to invite, please bring them along. We'd love to have them join us.
And for some of those events, particularly the Shabbat daytime events, RSVPs are required, so please do let us know if you're coming or if you're bringing any friends with you. And finally, a reminder that our Parent Steering Committee for our youth learning programs is inviting everybody to contribute to this year's Teacher Appreciation Fund, which will be used to create personalized gifts for all of our amazing faculty. Any contribution goes a long way and is greatly appreciated, so we appreciate your generosity in advance. And finally, we'd really like to ask our 4th grade students to please stay in here immediately following the service so that we can take a picture together before you head into your Shabbat dinner.
And parents and grandparents are welcome to take pictures as we're doing that as well immediately following the service. So now we're going to continue with Kiddush and Motzi. So we're going to once again invite back up our amazing and adorable 4th graders to come lead us in Kiddush and Motzi. We invite all others who are able to rise in body and or in spirit.
Careful with the wires over here, friends.
Baruch Adonai,
Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'ahava u'ratzon imchilanu, zikaron le'maaseh bereishit, ki hu yom tehillah le'mikra'e kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta, v'yotanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodeshecha, v'ahava u'ratzon, hilchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh Shabbat. L'chaim.
L'chaim. And if somebody will take the cover off of that challah. Thank you. You can just put it down. And you can lift up the plate.
Go ahead.
We will join together in the motzi.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, b'te'avon.
B'te'avon, you guys can take a little bite and you can take some down to your classmates. And we're going to conclude with Adon Olam.
Okay, guys.
Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra, Li'ed Nasa B'kefzo Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nivra, Azai Melech Shemo Yikra, Ve'al Betifara, Behuye, Betifara, Behu Echad, Be'en Sheni, Leham Shilo, Lehachbira, Beli Reshit, Beli Tachlit, Belo Haoz, Beham Yisra, Belo Haoz, Beham Yisra, Behu Eli, Behai Goali, Betsur Chevli, Beitzara, Behu Yesi, Umanosli, Menat Kosi, Beyom Ekra, Menat Kosi, Beyom Ekra, Beyado Avkid Ruchi, Be'etisha, Be'aira, Be'im Ruchi, Kivitati, Adonai li, Be'lo ira, Adonai li, Be'lo ira.
Fourth graders, don't go anywhere. We're going to take a picture with you immediately following the service. To everyone else, if you are the families of the fourth graders, you can stay for the pictures and then join us for the fourth grade dinner. And for everyone else, you can join us for an oneg in our Simon Court. And together we say, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Nice to see you.